Hey everyone, it's James from FunFoods, and today I'm going to show you how to make this giant homemade cinnamon roll. Now you want to keep watching and I'll show you step by step how to make this. Now the first thing we want to do is start off with a large bowl, and to that we're going to add 4 cups of all-purpose flour. Then we're going to add 4 tablespoons of sugar, this is just white sugar, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt for flavoring. And we just want to whisk this up until all those ingredients are well combined. Only takes a minute or so. Next, what we're going to do is beat in 6 tablespoons of butter. This is butter that's been softened at room temperature. Make sure it's soft or else it'll be very hard to work with. And we just want to gently do this so we don't get stuff all over the place. Gets all over the place anyway. In fact, I'm going to just do it with my hands because why not? It's going to be too messy with the beaters, so I'm going to put that aside and just massage it in with my hands. And really make sure you get all those chunks of butter and make sure they're really incorporated in before we move on to the next step. Now I think I'll wash my hands now before we move on. Alright, so now what we gotta do is just take this bowl, set this aside, and bring out a separate bowl. This can be a little smaller. We're gonna add to that 1.5 cups of milk and 2 large eggs. Now just beat this until the eggs and milk are all incorporated. Alright, so when the eggs and milk are all incorporated like this, now we're gonna come back to our other dish, our other bowl here. And we're gonna mix this into that. Just pour it all in there. And slowly mix this together. And it quickly becomes hard to mix with these beaters, so I'm gonna move on to a wooden spoon. Now you can use the wooden spoon like I'm using, or you can use your hands, whichever way you like, however messy you want to be. Alright, so this is our dough. It's a real wet dough right now, but we're going to add a little flour to this as we roll it out onto our surface. So let's change the surface and let's get rolling. Alright, so now I changed my surface. This surface is a little easier to roll dough out on. It won't stick to the other surface. And I just have some flour. I'm just going to coat my surface with some flour and save a little extra because we're going to need it as we go. And we're going to turn this dough out. It's a real wet, sticky dough at the moment. Onto our surface. And I'm going to coat that with a little bit of flour too. Not a lot, just a little. And we're going to use our hands now. We're going to get nice and dirty. And get rid of this spoon here. Now we're going to knead this dough. Alright, so you still want it to be kind of a sticky dough. You don't want it to be too sticky. It needs to be able to work with it. What we're going to do right now is coat our rolling pin with some flour. And since this is going to be a giant cinnamon roll, we're going to try to make it long and skinny here because it's going to roll out to maybe about 4 inches lengthwise or widthwise, but really long lengthwise. And we're just going to roll this out here. And right now I got it rolled out like this, but now I have to make our filling, the inside of this stuff. I probably should have made it first before I rolled out the dough, but whatever. So at this stage, what you want to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Once that's been preheated, we're going to make the cinnamon flavoring for inside our cinnamon roll. And I have 1 cup of regular granulated sugar here. I'm going to add to that a cup of brown sugar. Now make sure when you're putting brown sugar in, you pack it in really good, so it'll come out almost like a clump. And I also have 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. This is just ground cinnamon. Now we want to whisk this together and just break up that brown sugar. Whisk that all in really good. Now I have 1/4 cup of melted butter. I just put it in the microwave, melted it really good. And what I'm gonna do right now is, let's go back to our cinnamon, our dough here. And we're gonna just work with this a little bit at a time. Make sure it's about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. And because I don't have a huge workspace, we're going to do part at a time and work as we go. I'm going to take my melted butter and a brush, and I'm going to brush it on here. It's about good right there. Now, even though I already used cinnamon in this, I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on here because I like a lot of cinnamon. It is a cinnamon roll after all. And then we're going to take good heaping chunk of this mixture and put it on there. Alright, so now we're going to roll this up because we are only going to work half at a time. We're just going to take some and just roll it onto itself. Right about there. Now just gently pull your dough out until we're left with the rest of it. And we're going to do the same thing with this side. And you just roll the rest of this up. There we go. Now I'm going to use a springform pan for this. I couldn't find a smaller pan, so I'm going to have to work with this. It should expand, and hopefully it'll turn out nicely. I'm just buttering this, getting it buttered really good with the leftover butter I have. Now we're just going to take our huge cinnamon roll carefully and place it on our springform pan. Now I kind of just pushed it down a little bit. It's going to expand when we bake it. So hopefully it'll turn out and it'll look just like a huge cinnamon roll. So now just take this, put this in the oven. I'm going to check it in about 20 minutes and let you know how it's turning out. So our giant cinnamon roll is in the oven. It's coming along nicely. I'll show you how that's coming along. But right now we're gonna make the cream cheese filling, or the cream cheese topping that's gonna go on top of that cinnamon roll. But we have to make it now so it'll be ready when our cinnamon roll comes out of the oven so we can put it on when it's a little warm. So to do this, I have 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. I also have 4 tablespoons of softened butter. And we're just going to mix these two together. When they're creamed together nicely, now we're just going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla extract and mix that in. Now I have 1 cup of confectionery sugar or powdered sugar, icing sugar, however you want to call it. And let's mix this in. Do it slow because it will make a mess if you go too fast. And you know it's done when it's nice and creamy. Now we're just waiting on our cinnamon bun. And here's a little update on our cinnamon bun. Check it out. It's coming along nicely. Okay, so our big giant cinnamon roll is out of the oven. You can see it's cooked nicely. It still has the kind of moist parts in the middle there, which is perfect. It took almost 25 minutes for this thing to bake completely. And now what we're going to do, we're going to let it sit just for a minute or two, not too long, before we put it on our serving dish and put some icing on it. Well, I've decided to take this off now. Makes it easy with a springform pan. And I'm going to put this on a nice serving dish. So I'm using these oven gloves because it's still warm. And I'm going to see if I can get under the whole thing. Oh yes. There you go, my giant cinnamon roll. This thing looks amazing. I can't wait to get into this thing. And now, of course, we're gonna ice this off with the icing we made. And to do that, because this is giant, I'm gonna use a big old ice cream scoop to scoop some of this icing out on this. And offset spatula to rub it all in. And you wanna do it while it's warm but not too hot. And you can see the look of sheer joy on my face because I love cinnamon rolls, and seeing this giant one in front of me just makes me want to dig in. But first I'll get a couple pictures for my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, go over to FunFoods YT, check it out, and look for these pictures. Well, now it's time for the taste test. Let's cut into this thing, see how it looks, and see how it tastes. Now, what does it look like when we cut into this thing? Oh, I cannot wait. Ooh, look at that. Now, let's just slice that. Oh. Oh yeah, I love the middle part of a cinnamon roll where it's nice and gooey and has all that cinnamon on there, and now with all that topping, that cream cheese topping. It's good. That cream cheese topping really just sends it over the edge. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this giant homemade cinnamon roll. It was a lot of fun making this, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Also hit that big red subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to get new videos every week. And be sure to check out some of the videos I have off to the side. I think you may enjoy those as well. Now, you might be noticing that I'm putting up more videos than usual, so no longer will you just have videos on Sunday, but also during the week as well. So make sure you check back often to see what videos I have popping up. And until then, I'll see you next time.